That's our coverage here from Dealey Plaza. Keep watching. History is next. This is Studio B here at WFAA TV, where exactly 50 years ago to the moment, from this very studio, WFAA's Jay Watson first reported to the world the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. I'm News 8's John McKay. Located a mere 3 blocks from the Texas School Book Depository, this studio sits in the shadow of the assassination site. On November 22nd, 1963, WFAA had a front row seat to history. So what you're about to see is our coverage from that day, just as it aired. Now, it's raw, but real. There were some technical issues that day, some inaccuracies as the facts unfolded, but this is the broadcast exactly as the viewer saw it in 1963. We begin where President Kennedy started his final day, where he gave his last speech to a room full of civic leaders and supporters.
Ladies and gentlemen, I proudly present the President of the United States.
Thank you. I know now why everyone in Texas, Fort Worth, is so thin, having gotten up and down about 9 times. This is what you do every morning. Mr. Buck, Mr. Vice President, Governor Conley, Senator Yarborough, Jim Wright, members of the congressional delegation, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Attorney General, ladies and gentlemen. 2 years ago, I said that, introduced myself in Paris by saying that I was the man who had accompanied Mrs. Kennedy to Paris. I'm getting somewhat that same sensation as I travel around Texas. Nobody wonders what Lyndon and I wear, but we...
No, we know that you don't wear a hat. We couldn't let you leave Fort Worth without providing you with some protection against the rain.
I'll put it on in the White House on Monday. If you'll come up there, you'll have a chance to see it there.
Certainly appreciate it.
This has been the presidential breakfast from the Hotel Texas in Fort Worth. Now the presidential party will leave Fort Worth, go to Dallas, where this afternoon he will address a crowd at the Trade Mart.
There's Mrs. Kennedy, and the crowd yells, "And the President of the United States." And I can see his suntan all the way from here. Shaking hands now with the Dallas people, Governor and Mrs. Conley. Governor Conley on your left. Mr. Eric Johnson in the official welcoming party. Mr. Conley shaking hands with Dr. Berkner. The president now partially obscured behind his wife and that big bouquet of flowers. Working their way slowly, Judge Barefoot Sanders meeting the president, who gave him a pat on the shoulder. Judge Lou Sterrett now just visible. Governor Connolly with his arm around the president. Mrs. Kennedy backs up and waits for the president, who stops to chat with some of the people greeting him here. Crowd waving, as you can see. People standing up all over everything available to get a glimpse of the president and his wife. Cheering and yelling going on down the way as they approach the cars. Beautiful break in the weather. Just a beautiful break in the weather. Clear blue sky and a warm sun. Nixon has gone home for the benefit of that person with the sign. He left at 9:05 this morning. The vice president, former vice president, was in town yesterday. Crowd swarming around the president and first lady. That's the official party, not the general public, who is not allowed out beyond the restraining fence here at Love Field. Now they're heading over to the car. Partially obscured from our sight at the moment. People breaking away now, running over to get behind other fences to catch a better glimpse of the caravan as it will leave here shortly and go to downtown Dallas. The president is up to the fence now, shaking hands with people. The president and his wife are right up on the fence. The press is standing up high, getting a lot of shots of this. He's done as he has done in several places. He's broken away from his planned plan and gone right up to the fence to shake hands with people. This is great for the people and makes the eggshells even thinner for the Secret Service, whose job it is to guard the man. But the audience loves this. Mrs. Kennedy's beautiful pillbox hat was the only thing that gave it away. I saw the hat, and I knew they were there. And, of course, the press going high and shooting right down below as the president and his wife kind of moving along the gate. People yelling at them, people running on the inside now trying to come down to this end of the gate, this end of the fenced-off area, hoping that the president and his wife will move along the fence. People out with cameras just holding them up and snapping away and hoping to get a picture out of their very own camera of the president and his wife. President still walking along that inside fence, shaking hands, talking with people who have come out to greet him. They didn't expect this. Now as he becomes more visible down to this end, the people cheer. And here they come, right down toward us. I can see Mrs. Kennedy. And they're going to come right on down and shake hands with everybody. Mrs. Kennedy gave a lovely smile and a wave at that time. Mrs. Kennedy right up. There's the president shaking hands with the people. He's waving at a lot of people, smiling, Secret Service men all around. Boy, this is something. They break right away and come right up to the fence, and the people who waited all morning in this fence are rewarded with a glimpse, and a lot of them with a close look and a handshake with the President of the United States and his wife. And he's coming right down toward us and toward our fine camera positions here. The press is having a field day. Somebody perched up on somebody's shoulders. President saying thank you very much, if I may be permitted to read a presidential lip movement. This is a bonus for the people who have waited out here. Now, Mrs. Kennedy, right along behind him. The President still moving over towards some phone booths that were set up for the press. The people surging up toward that fence. But there is a fence, and the President waves goodbye, waits for his wife, and back they go to the car. Governor Connally standing in the car beaming. Governor Connally with a big 10-gallon hat on. Mrs. Kennedy stepping in the car first. Now the President. They both in the back seat now. Now the motorcade will very shortly start to move out. Sheriff Bill Decker, Dallas County Sheriff, driving his own car, personally escorting it with the Chief of Police. The presidential car moving out. The President and First Lady. Big, beautiful Lincoln, followed by a carload of press. Secret Service men, the car behind. Then comes Vice President and Mrs. Johnson, Senator Yarborough. Now people over in this area are getting a chance to see the President. That motorcade will swing way around, go by the Continental Airlines maintenance hangar, head out for downtown Dallas, where thousands should already be on the street right now, waiting for a view of the President and his wife. Dallas police out here in force today, doing a beautiful job of handling the crowd, along with a contingent of Texas Rangers. And I still can't get over the fact that the President and his wife broke away from the planned trek to the automobiles and went all along this fence out here, right up to the fence, shaking hands and talking with these hundreds of people gathered inside that fenced-off area. It was a great thrill to them and a complete surprise. So the party now is leaving Dallas Love Field. The three big White House press charter buses behind us getting ready to pull out. And, of course, as we say, thousands will be on hand for that motorcade now, which will be downtown Dallas, down Cedar Springs, to Harwood, and on Harwood it'll turn on Main, from which point it'll go all the way down to the courthouse area, which is the end of Main. It'll turn on Houston Street to Elm under the triple underpass, out to the Mart where the President talks at approximately 1 o'clock, which will also be carried live right here on most of these channels. And then we'll be back here again, of course, as we told you, at about 2:15 for the President's departure.
I noticed that there are a number of hidden zippers in these jackets. Now, what are these for, Betsy? They can't be for, is it for mad money?
Well, it depends on where they're placed. They can be wherever you want them.
Uh-huh.
You know, for the pockets so that no snow gets into it, the zipper holding the hood in because it's easier to put the hood on and off with the zipper than it is with the snaps. Then there's zippers up the side so that the jacket will fit tightly around the hips, keeping that straight, sleek look that it should have. And very often you'll find a zipper hidden in the arm. And
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. You'll excuse the fact that I'm out of breath, but about 10 or 15 minutes ago, a tragic thing, from all indications at this point, has happened in the city of Dallas. Let me quote to you this. And you'll excuse me if I am out of breath. A bulletin, this is from the United Press, from Dallas. President Kennedy and Governor John Connally have been cut down by assassins' bullets in downtown Dallas. They were riding in an open automobile when the shots were fired. The President, his limp body carried in the arms of his wife, Jacqueline, has rushed to Parkland Hospital. And if you'll excuse me if I give some directions and we talk about what we're going to do here for the next few minutes, but Bobby, let's tape this, if you please, particularly the interview with the eyewitness people. It is being taped good. Here's a piece of copy that was rushed to me and was torn off from the United Press in Dallas. President Kennedy has been shot in Dallas, Texas. He was shot as a motorcade left downtown Dallas. Mrs. Kennedy jumped up and grabbed the president. She cried, "Oh no," as the motorcade sped on. An Associated Press photographer, James Algens, Altgens, reports he saw blood on the president's head. The AP man said he heard 2 shots but thought someone was shooting fireworks until he saw the blood on the president. He also said he saw no one with a gun. We were awfully close. Jerry Haynes, as you know, and Mr. Peppermint, we were awfully close to being an eyewitness. We were standing on Houston Street between Main and the next street over. Jerry, come in, would you please? And the next street over, we watched the president come by and gave him the applaud that is due the office of the President of the United States. And as he turned left, 2 or 3 shots rang out. We thought they were firecrackers until, I thought they did until the last shot rang out and we heard people screaming. And we rushed over in time to see a policeman standing behind one of the fire poles, looking around as if for some place to shoot, someone to shoot at. I'd like to remind you here that as the news comes into the newsroom, we will be on the air. We'll have our eyewitness people here in just a moment. Vicki, would you see if they need some coffee or something? These people are awfully shaken up. They come awfully close. They were in the line of fire. Jer?
I remember, Jay, you said, I thought it was, you know, a firecracker or something like that, and then they followed 1 shot, and then a second or 2 later, another shot, and then another second or 2, and then a 3rd shot, and you said the man's been shot at, and we both turned.
No, I said, my God, that's gunshot.
That's right.
Oh.
And then we turned right over, we were behind Mr. Dealey's statue,
right.
And we ran over to the cement wall, and we saw people beginning to scatter in places, and I believe our eyewitness was on the ground.
Chair, would you do me a favor? Would you go check in the newsroom now, and as the men come in from the field, or if they have stories, please let me know, and also get someone to check with, we were supposed to take the feed from KRLD. They may still be doing a feed from there. Check it, let me know. And until our news crew gets back in, we will sort of use this studio as our headquarters. These people, and you will excuse me, I don't want to interrupt you. I'm so sorry because I know that you are so upset, but I would like to talk to you for a minute. It's a little bit awkward, so the camera shots will have to fall as they may. I'm going to stand right here, and maybe somebody can give me a chair while we're doing this. May I have your name, please, sir?
Bill Newman.
And this is Mrs. Newman?
Yes, sir.
And this is?
James Clayton.
James, and this is?
Billy.
Billy, tell me what you saw and what you felt. What happened to you?
We just come from left field after seeing the president and the first lady, and we were just in front of the triple underpass on Elm Street, and we were at the edge of the curve, getting ready to wave at the president. So
you were down under the viaduct, so to speak, weren't you?
Well, we were halfway in between
on the grass,
triple underpass. We were at the curb when the incident happened. But the president's car was some 50 feet still yet.
In front of you?
In front of us, coming towards us, and we heard the first shot, and the president, I don't know who was hit first, but the president jumped up in his seat, and I thought it scared him. I thought it was a firecracker, because he looked, you know, fear. And then as the car got directly in front of us, well, a gunshot apparently from behind us hit the president in the side of the temple.
Do you think the first gunshot came from behind you, too?
I think it came from the same location. Apparently back up on the mall. I don't know what you call it.
For the benefit of nomenclature, all you folks have gone out under the viaduct, and as you turn, going under the viaduct on the left-hand side, there's some grass. Do you think the shot came from up on top of the viaduct toward the president? Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Not on the viaduct itself, but up on top of the hill, a little mound of ground there, the garden.
How far away would you say that is from where the president was? A couple of 300 yards, something like that?
Well, I have no idea, because I didn't see where the gunshot come from. We were looking directly at the president when he was hit, and he was more or less directly in front of us, and we didn't realize what happened until we seen the side of his head whenever the bullet hit him in the head.
Did you see the blood coming from the president's head?
Yes, sir, we seen that. I seen that. I don't know if my wife did, but I seen that.
Oh, yes, sir, it was awful.
It is awful.
That's all.
What kind of work do you do, sir?
I'm a construction worker, electrician.
Is this the first time that you have seen a president of the United States? Did you see him when he was here before in 1961?
No, sir.
No, sir. housewife.
Yes, sir.
Took the day off to come downtown and see the president.
Yes, sir, we did. We wanted our children to see it.
Were you in the line of fire? I noticed, I remember vividly whenever I walked over and looked over the banister there and saw across the street that you were down on the ground so that to keep out of the line of fire. What was the first thought that struck your mind?
Oh, I thought it was a firecracker, and I saw the blood, and I had the baby, and I just ran, and I got on top of him and laid on the grass. It just scared me. It was terrible.
Did you see anyone else hit besides the...
Governor Conley was kind of turned to the side, and he grabbed his stomach.
Okay. Thank you. Jerry, if anything else comes in, we heard a report, and I'd like to say here, for the benefit of you folks who are tuning in, who have tuned in late to watch Julie Bonnell's show, that we interrupt the program, and our program will be interrupted all day because it is apparent now that President Kennedy has been shot. We have no word in our newsroom, but we are standing by in our newsroom. And would you work as a runner with the newsroom, and as anything comes in, and if you get into the boys that come in that have been gathering the news, please bring them in so that we can have them on the air. Here is another word. We know, as we carried here, and all the stations carried this morning, the president spoke this morning in Fort Worth. He flew to Dallas, and that coverage was on. He landed here about 1:30, between 1:35 and 1:40. Vicki, did you get the coffee for the people? Bring it on in. He was to deliver a speech at 1 o'clock this afternoon, and he was on a motorcade and only about, I guess, 2 or 3 miles from where he was to make the speech in the Trade Mart whenever this terrible, disastrous thing happened, and it happened in our city. Secret Service agents that were in the car immediately began following the president. They pulled automatic rifles. I was an eyewitness to one of the policemen standing there behind a light pole, and you'll excuse me if I'm frustrated, you would be too, standing there with a pistol in his hand. The bubble of the president's car was down when the shots rang out. In fact, if I remember correctly, when they took off from the airport, there was no bubble on the car. The president slumped over in the back seat, face down. Conley lay on the floor of the rear seat. Wounds in the governor's chest were clearly visible. This is from the United Press. The wounds indicated that an automatic weapon was used. 3 loud bursts of gunfire were heard before the president and the governor fell. Just a few minutes before, Jerry Haynes and I, the president smiling and his lovely wife smiling. Do you have any idea which direction? I'm sorry, I forgot your name. I forgot my name at this stage.
Newman.
Mr. Newman, do you have any idea which direction? Would you like to go ahead? Go right ahead. I'm so sorry that you're so upset, and I hope we're not prevailing upon your good nature to have you here, except with the news like this. Mr. Nunley, do you have any idea which direction the shots came from that hit the president or Conley? Did you say that one of the shots came from one direction and one from another, it seemed like?
No, sir. Actually, I feel that they both come from directly behind where we were standing.
Right behind you.
The president, it looked like he was looking in that direction. I don't know whether he was hit first. Apparently he wasn't. It looked like he jumped up in his seat, and when he jumped up, well, he was shot directly in the head. And I don't know what you call it, the mall behind us, but apparently that's
where he was. I know that a few minutes after that, when I came over there and asked you people if you would be kind enough to come over and be on our station today, I know that the police were all taking off up the ramp and over.
Everybody was going in that direction.
Toward
yes,
the
sir.
railroad.
Yes, sir.
Cars back over in there.
I just hope the man that shot the president, I just hope they don't kill him. I hope he lives. I hope he just lives to regret what he did. And that's all the comment.
The presidential advisor,
Excuse me, Jerry Haynes, you know Jerry, Mr. Peppermint. Jerry and I were within 100 yards of where the president was shot, and Jerry, you'll have to, there's another mic here somewhere. Can we excuse our impromptu, here we go. Can we turn this, is this one on now, Bobby?
On the Associated Press, someone had asked one of the presidential advisors or companions for any news, and he refused comment. They asked if he had been wounded fatally. And this was about 5 minutes ago. That came over about the same time I brought that bulletin in.
Do we have a report yet from Parkland Hospital? Is there any word from there?
No, not yet.
Vicki, will you check in the newsroom and see if see if any of the newsmen are there, see if...
Are we on tape on there?
We're both. We're on the air now, and we are taping the program, too. Your first appearance on television, I take it?
Yes, sir. It's
And isn't it a shame that it's under the conditions that we're under now?
Yes, sir. It's a shame.
I would like to recap a little bit for those of you who might have turned in late. Jared, go ahead and just do as you have to do to see if we can get some further details in here. And also, you might check with Don Easterwood and see if there is some way we can get a telephone in here that we can take beep telephones. Will you, Jared? Or someone? Good. I'd like to recap for you the reason we are on the air, and it can best be said by these bulletins from the United Press, and then I will tell you what I know. The bulletin from the United Press. Thank you, Helen. President Kennedy and Governor Connally of Texas have been cut down by assassins' bullets in downtown Dallas. They were riding in an open automobile when the shots were fired. The president, his limp body cradled in the arms of his wife, Jacqueline, had been rushed to Parkland Hospital. A follow-up on that from the United Press. I read just a minute ago. Well, I can't. Yes, here it is. I think I can best explain it to you in my own words. We were about 100 yards. If you're familiar with Dallas, Houston Street is on top of what we call the underpass, and the road curves down and underneath the viaduct. Jerry Haynes and I were standing there, and we heard one shot, and then immediately thereafter another shot, and then a third a little bit later, and I said to Jerry, my God, those were gunshots, and we ran over, and unfortunately, I'm afraid they were.
It's nothing new, but just true.
Is it a recap?
Yes.
This we have said. Excuse me 1 minute and let me... Quote, Clint Hill, a Secret Service agent, this is from the United Press. Clint Hill, a Secret Service agent assigned to Mrs. Kennedy, said he's dead as the president was lifted from the rear of the White House touring car. Mr. Kennedy was rushed to an emergency room, and I believe it's Parkland Hospital. Is it, Jack? You have nothing? Okay, Jack Drabont, one of our producers, walked in. Other White House officials were in doubt as the corridors of the hospital erupted in pandemonium. We have told you where the incident occurred. What is the name of that street?
Where he was
shot.
Well, I suppose it's a continuation of Elm as it goes down.
It must be that goes under the underpass. He was slumped in the back seat of the car, face down. Connally lay on the floor of the rear seat. And also a few minutes ago, John, the newsman, I can't think of my name. No, John Allen, told me that he heard a report from one of the radios, and this is only a report, that there were 4 or 5 other people hit. I don't see how there could be, because I know there were only three. There were only 3 shots. Jer, where's your mic? I got something to say, we might as well have you. Right.
Well, I almost didn't go over with you, Jay. We were going out to lunch at about 12, and you said...
I asked Vicki to go over, too, and you had some other work to do, and also Norvell Slater and some of the other people. The time is 1 o'clock. I would guess that this happened... I asked you what time it was at 12:30, so I would guess that this happened about 25 minutes until 1 o'clock.
You and I were chatting about 12:30. Some little boys were standing around, and I'd signed some autographs as Mr. Peppermint.
Right.
They asked where Jingles the Dragon was, and I said he was in school. And the mother said, well, this is where...
A day in Dallas, Texas.
He came to see the president.
Thank you, Jack. If any of the newsboys come in, or if there are any beep phones come in that we can have transferred here, and you better get Don Easterwood, who is our audio supervisor, to see if we can take them here and put them directly on the air.
All right.
Put them directly on the air. Representative Albert Thomas of Texas says he has been informed that both President Kennedy and Governor John Connally of Texas are still alive. Let me repeat that. This is a bulletin. Representative Albert Thomas of Texas says he has been informed that both President Kennedy and Governor John Connally of Texas are still alive. Thomas made a statement outside the emergency room in which both Kennedy and Connally are under treatment. He said he had been told the president is still alive, but is in very critical condition. We will be on the air here. I know our boys are developing film now to see if we have any film coverage. We are regrouping in the newsroom, and Bob, I would suggest as soon as you can that either you break one of these cameras or one of the other cameras and put it in the newsroom and maybe a headlight on top of the camera, and let's move in the newsroom. Get an audio line set up there so that we can work directly out of there and find out exactly what's going on. We hope to God that this is true. I don't know when yes.
We have to get a tripod on one of the cameras. We can't get these in. So
I see. Okay, fine. Then we'll move in the newsroom. Representative Albert Thomas, and this I'll repeat again. Representative Albert Thomas of Texas says he has been informed that both President Kennedy and Governor John Connally of Texas are still alive. He made this statement outside the emergency room in which both Kennedy and Connally are under treatment. He said he had been told the president is still alive, but in very critical condition. North, what do you got?
From Congressman Jim Wright.
Same thing.
Well, let's read the whole thing here. Some of the Secret Service agents through the gunfire. That doesn't. Let's see. Some of the Secret Service agents thought the gunfire was from an automatic weapon fired to the right rear of the president's car, probably from a grassy knoll to which the police rushed. And that was confirmed a few minutes ago by Mr. and Mrs. Nunley, who were eyewitnesses to this event. And we will have them back a few minutes later in case some of you are late tuning in to our program. We would like for you to hear. Gee, I'm so.
That's right. In other words, they fired into the car and it came down.
And these people were in the line of fire.
As a call has been sent out.
Congressman Jim Wright of Fort Worth said both Kennedy and Connally were seriously wounded but still alive. A call has been sent out from some of the top surgical specialists in Dallas, and a call also went out for a priest.
It's unusual, the reaction you got when you see someone, well, of course, like the president, such a political figure. It's as almost, well, there they were in front of you and I, and it seems to me that the president looked directly, because we were applauding, yes, directly, I'd say at you probably, because a little taller than I am, and there he was, and he waved at you. And then they rounded the corner, and just a few seconds later, we heard the shots.
I would say a minute before.
And the lady had a camera, I remember, was taking personal films of it.
Yeah.
And she, I think, was an eyewitness, and she had come running over and crossed the street.
Screaming, yeah.
Yes.
Just a minute, yeah. Don.
The cruiser's on its way to Parkland.
The cruiser is on its...
It's at Parkland.
It is.
They'll be feeding in before long.
All right, stand by. We have our remote cruiser is on its way to Parkland Hospital, and we'll be feeding there as soon as possible. Bob Walker will be there. Will someone please see if they can get a hold of the cruiser and Bob and tell him that we will work audio cues on the air because the people understand the type of program. It's not a program, and they'll understand why if we say, the notice about the call going out for the priest. Well, I think this one sentence sums up the situation as of this moment. A call has been sent out for some of the top surgical specialists in Dallas, and at the same time, a call has gone out for a priest. It's 3 minutes after 1 o'clock. Jerry, somewhere around 12:35 this took place, so 30 minutes ago. Would you, while I get a breath and a drink of water here, recap the situation as to until now?
Right.
We'll be moving in our newsroom so that we can talk to the boys in the news department as they come in. Our cruiser is now on its way to Parkland Hospital. We will keep you up to date as soon as...
It's at Parkland Hospital.
It is at Parkland now.
Still have to hook up, though.
And they're trying to get it hooked up. Jerry, I'll be back in a couple of minutes.
All right. Well, as an announcer, it's my duty, ladies and gentlemen, to stand by in the announce booth here at WFAA TV. And we began our feed of the president's arrival this morning. It was at 9 o'clock, and he was speaking at Fort Worth, of course, as you saw on Channel 8 or any of the other television stations in this area. And he made a very fine speech lasting some 15 minutes in length. Then he went outside and was in the jet, took off, and arrived at Love Field. Bob Walker, our Channel 8 newsman, stood by as we, in turn, fed the other television stations on the president's arrival in Love Field, and he was met by Mayor and Mrs. Cabell, by Mr. Eric Johnson, and other of the dignitaries who were to share the speaker's table at Market Hall this afternoon as he was to give an address. And at the time, Bob Walker remarked after the president met the official welcoming group, as he went out of his way to shake the hands of those who had lined the fences, having come out to Love Field this morning very early, and ignoring the possibility of rain. Of course, the sky is cleared and the clouds weren't to be seen. But the president shook all of the hands, and we saw the Secret Service men, and they followed him. And I wondered at the time just how effective, of course, you have to be as effective as you can be, but there are human errors, and you can't cover all areas. And the Secret Service men, who must have the most difficult task in the world in guarding the president, were behind him at every angle as he shook the hands of everyone. I noticed a high school girl shook the president's hand, and then at about, I'd say 15 minutes until 12, the motorcade left Love Field, heading for its predetermined route down Lemon Avenue into the downtown area, and they were to come down Commerce and turn right on Houston, rather to come down Main and turn right on Houston over to Elm, turn left on Elm, and down under the now spot that will be remembered, I'm sure, as the years pass, as the place where an attempt, and we hope the attempt remains in the press releases, was made on the life of the President of the United States. Here is the, in case you have tuned in, you probably know, of course, as much as I do, but this is the bulletin that came over the United Press, so I'll be repeating. But this is what has happened so far. President Kennedy and Governor John Connally of Texas have been cut down by assassins' bullets. They were shot as they toured downtown Dallas in an open car. The president, his limp body in the arms of his wife, was rushed to Parkland Hospital. The governor also was taken to the same hospital. Clint Hill, a Secret Service agent assigned to Mrs. Kennedy, made a statement. No, he said he's dead, but he isn't. But this is what the gentleman said at the time. As the president was lifted from the rear of the White House touring car, Mr. Kennedy was rushed to an emergency room in the hospital. Other White House officials were in doubt as the corridors of the hospital erupted in pandemonium. The incident occurred just east of the triple underpass facing a park in downtown area. President Kennedy's mother and father have been advised that their son was shot in Dallas, and the Secret Service says the president remains in the emergency room at the hospital while Governor Connally was moved to the general operating room. One Secret Service man was overheard telling another that there was no need to move the president because emergency facilities were entirely adequate in the emergency room, and 2 Roman Catholic priests have been summoned to the emergency room where the president is. A White House spokesman said someone had asked for the priests.
We got audio. You fellas, don't be afraid. If you have something to do, go ahead and say it, you know, because the people understand. I'd like to ask this of you. Please do not call the police department. Do not call the radio stations, the television stations. Do not call the hospital. Particularly, do not call Parkland Hospital. Those lines are needed. Every telephone in that building will have to be made available to the Secret Service and to the people who are working to save the life of the president. Please do not call the Parkland Hospital. Do not call the television station. Our switchboard has been tied up for the last 25 minutes now. Do not call. In fact, it might be a good idea with all the long-distance calls coming out here, unless a telephone call is absolutely necessary, not to make the call. Are we ready in the newsroom now? We are. Okay. Bobby, why don't you just take your shot over there and pan around, and we will walk over and pick up the audio. Let's turn the mic on. I can't hear you, Johnny. What do you want? You want me to move back a little bit? Is it all right now? Ladies and gentlemen, this is the newsroom of our radio and television station. As you can see, most of the boys are out. Bert? Let's see. Let's get reorganized here. Grab that cable over there. We're on the air, Bert, and let's talk to you just a minute here. Is this all right? Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce to you the chief cameraman and assistant news director of WFAA Television. This is Bert Shipp. Bert, we have brought the people pretty much up to date. Would you tell them exactly what you know as of this point?
Well, Jay, I was standing at the Trade Mart waiting his arrival there. All of a sudden, we saw them approaching. They didn't slow down. As a matter of fact, they were going 70 or 80 miles an hour past us. Everybody was unknowingly, didn't know what happened there at the Trade Mart. And then I jumped in a police car and went to Parkland. When I got there, I found that that nobody knew too much about where he was hit, but they knew that the president was shot in the head. This is what I've been told now, Jay. The president was shot in the head. Connally was shot in the chest. Both of them are still alive when I left the hospital.
Do you have some film?
And yeah, I have film at the hospital.
You get the film and see if you can get it developed real quick,
Yeah,
and we'll
I will.
put it on the air
And
if you run it through.
one quote we got out there was Yarborough said the scene was too gruesome to describe.
I know.
And I've spent most of my time, so I'm going to get the film ready now.
Good. Ladies and gentlemen, let me bring you up to date. Jerry Haynes and I were within about 100 yards of where the president was shot this afternoon on the grassy knoll there. And you will understand if we repeat ourselves, it's for the benefit of the people who have tuned in late. We are presently televising over WFAA television from our newsroom all that we know as of this moment. And as you can imagine, some of the stories that you will hear are not factual. The story that I told a few minutes ago about we heard that 6 or 8 people were wounded. This is not true because we only heard 3 shots and Jerry and I were witnesses. We will have film on the air. Our mobile cruiser is either at or rushing to Parkland Hospital. We will have word from there. There was a gentleman who was an eyewitness. Helen, is he here? Mr. Nunley, would you come in, please? When I first looked over the balcony to where the chaos was taking place, this gentleman and his wife and 2 children were on the grass. Now, once again, if you joined us originally when we cut into the program about 1:45 to 1:00, you heard his statement. Mr. Nunley, would you tell us once again exactly what... Mr. Newman, I'm sorry. Look right there. Mr. Newman, will you tell us exactly what you know?
Well, my wife and my 2 sons were standing at the curb looking at the president approaching us, and we heard a blast, and the president looked like that he jumped up in his seat, and by that time he was directly in front of us, and then we seen him get shot in the side of the head, and he fell back in the seat, and Governor Connally was holding his stomach.
And the shots were almost simultaneously, weren't they?
Yes, sir, they were probably 10 seconds apart.
Do you know who fired the 3rd shot?
I didn't hear I don't recall a 3rd shot. There may have been. My family hit the ground, and I don't recall a 3rd shot. I just couldn't, I'm not certain of that. I do know I heard 2 shots.
Yeah, I heard 3. I know there were 3.
Well,
yeah, I said to Jerry after the 2nd shot, I said, my God, those are gunshots, and sure enough they were, unfortunately. Let me bring you up to date now. Yeah, I understand that we're having trouble in here with a pickup, so we'll move back to the studio. Is that correct? Just a minute. Ed, what is it you said? This is Ed Pfeiffer, our station manager. Excuse me just a minute. You want to go have a cup of coffee, and we'll be right back.
I think it might be better, Jay, if we move this back into the studio.
Okay.
In that it's very difficult to hear on the air.
The audio's bad? Okay, good. Okay, we'll move back in the studio. Jerry is standing by in there now.
Time now. We're back in studio here where the news is given each day, and the weather and the sports, known as Studio B here at WFAA Television. Time now is, in 15 seconds, will be 1:15, so it was approximately, yeah. Yes.
See, I'm trying to find out, uh-oh.
Two of the networks.
I beg your pardon?
I said being fed
Go ahead, Ed, I can't.
fed live on the networks.
Good.
From here.
I understand that we are feeding 2 of the networks at this moment. Is that correct? Well, since this is the case, I think we should start from scratch again and explain to you what happened. Would you see that Mr. Nunley or Mrs. Nunley come back in so that we can talk to them? Jerry Haynes and I were about 100 yards. My name is Jay Watson. We're about 100 yards from where President Kennedy was shot this afternoon at approximately 12:35 Central Standard Time. The president, we know that he has been shot. We know that the top surgical people in Dallas have been called to Parkland Hospital, and two priests have been summoned. And I think that sums up the situation as of now.
It says here, Jay, that President Kennedy has been given blood transfusions in Parkland Hospital in Dallas in an effort to save the president's life after he and Texas Governor John Connally were shot as the president was traveling on the outskirts of Dallas in a motorcade.
Good. Jared, let me bring...
Surely. Mrs. Newman, would you please come in?
Mrs. Newman, would you come in, please, and let me get your account of your eyewitness here to sit right over here. And the little boy. Did you get some coffee finally?
I don't drink coffee.
Well, would you like to have something? I know that you...
No, my stomach's kind of churning. I'm afraid that I won't be able to drink it.
This is Nunley.
No, Newman.
Newman. I've been calling you. I'm sorry. I don't even remember my own name, really.
It's terrible.
Tell me what happened.
We were standing next to the curb so the children could see the president, and the car was just up a piece from us, and this shot fired out, and I thought it was a firecracker. And the president kind of raised up in his seat, and I thought, you know, he was kind of going along with a gag or something. And then all of a sudden this next one popped, and Governor Conley grabbed his stomach and kind of laid over to the side. And then another one, it was just all so fast, and President Kennedy reached up and looked like grabbed his ear, and blood just started gushing out. And my husband said, "Quick, get down." And I grabbed the baby, and we ran and laid down on the grass, and I got on top of him. It was just right by us when it all happened, just right in front of us.
Well, when I saw you looking over the balcony there, you and your husband and your two little children, who's this one now?
This is James Clayton.
Hi, baby.
Can you say hi? He's got some candy.
What's doing?
He doesn't talk.
He's cute, isn't he? He didn't say anything?
Oh, he can talk.
Does he?
He can say thank you.
Have you seen President Kennedy before?
We were out at the airport, and we didn't get a very good view of him. And so we decided we'd try to get downtown to see him, because Billy, that's our youngest son, is getting old enough that he remembers things like that, and we wanted him to be able to say that he saw President Kennedy. And
now he will be able to say that he saw President Kennedy when he was shot.
Yes, he's already saying, "Mother, why would someone want to shoot President Kennedy?" Children, you don't realize how they catch on to things, but he's already talking about why would they want to kill him, and that's a question that everyone will
You
be
didn't
asking.
see anybody? You didn't
No,
see anybody.
it happened so fast that you didn't have a chance to see anything. It just was too fast.
Well, thank you for coming down. I appreciate your time very much, and I know that you're upset, and I hope that we didn't embarrass you in any way.
No.
And good luck to you and your family and to your
Thank
two little
you.
boys, and tell your husband, too, that we appreciate his time and trouble very much. You people who are looking in will excuse us if we sort of get organized on the air here. Bobby, I understand that we have some film that is that is in the process, that is big. Bert Shipp has some, I think, one of our newsmen. It is being processed at the moment, so we will have that film. We are rushing our mobile cruiser. Beg pardon?
Physically, it might be a good idea for people who are watching who have never been to Dallas before to
I think,
explain.
I'll tell you what let's do is Sam Smith around, our artist. Sam, if we can have a piece of cardboard and a piece of chalk, we'll try to explain to you exactly where the location is in Dallas, Texas. Will someone see if we can have something to do a little artwork? He's on his way. Good. Well, we'll have a little drawing for you of where it is. This morning, I tell you, Bob, is Turner, is he still directing?
Yes.
Okay, Bob, if you will get the film out, the videotape that we made this morning, and take about 4 or 5 minutes out of it, the part where we had President and Mrs. Kennedy shaking hands with the people up at the rail, let's run that in just a few minutes, if you will. Vicki, would you give me some coffee, please, ma'am?
The motorcade, for all practical purposes, was finished. Of course, they were to go down the rest of and go under what we call in Dallas our triple underpass. Elm Street runs down a gently sloping incline as it goes west, and the president's official car had just turned off of another street, Main, which is 1 block south of Elm.
He was through all the crowd, because from there on out to what we call the Trade Mart is a 8-lane freeway.
And there's some industrial areas and a few of the people off from lunch, but the president had seen all of the crowd who had gathered. And so as he turned, the presidential motor car, going down at an incline of about 15 to 20 degrees, for all practical purposes, the parade in Dallas was over. And we had turned ourselves to go back to WFAA when those 3 shots rang out at the time, not sounding like shots, but you did remark.
Yeah, I said, my God, those are
few minutes.
gunshots. And the people started screaming, and we ran over and looked over. Yeah, go ahead, set it up here.
The gunshots occurred about 12:35 this afternoon, and it is now 1:20 Central Time.
Okay, we need something to write with, and then we'll be in business to try to show you where this took place in the city of Dallas, and I'm not...
Tape's ready, Jay.
The tape is ready. Well, while we draw this out, this tape was made earlier this morning in a feed that WFAA picked up and originated for the stations in Dallas, WFAA, KRLD, KTVT, and WBAP. He arrived at about 11:35, almost to the hour from when he was shot at Love Field. Let's take about 4 or 5 minutes, and I'll tell you when, Bobby. Let's take the tape. Now, this is pre-taped. This is a tape that we made this morning. Let's look at that, shall we?
Running over to get behind other fences to catch a better glimpse of the caravan as it will leave here shortly and go to downtown Dallas. The president is up to the fence now, shaking hands with people. The president and his wife are right up on the fence. The press is standing up high, getting a lot of shots of this. He's done as he has done in several places. He's broken away from his plan and gone right up to the fence to shake hands with people. This is great for the people and makes the eggshells even thinner for the Secret Service, whose job it is to guard the man. But the audience loves this.
We interrupt this. Wait just a minute. I hear... Just a moment. All right. Let's go to the Secret Service. Let's go to the trademark, Bobby. Is that correct? All right, take it. Let's see what we have.
Final as of this morning. Rift has existed for a long time in the Democratic Party in Texas, and this rift, the Democrats will tell you whether they be conservatives or loyalists or liberals or moderates or whatever faction of the Democratic Party they belong to in Texas, they all say that this is just an inter-party fight and we can all get together when the president comes to town. Well, finally they did get together. The big bone of contention had been whether or not Senator Ralph Yarborough, who is considered certainly in the liberal wing of the party, would be seated at the head table. He does not get along too well with Vice President Johnson or with Governor Connolly. The word was that last night the senator refused to ride in the motorcade in the same car with Vice President Johnson. But today, all was to have been pretty much peaches and cream, as it were. They were all going to sit at the head table and break bread together on this Friday, the 22nd of November. And then, before they could ever reach this market hall, the word is that the president has been killed, that one of his agents is dead, and the governor of Texas is wounded. From the Trade Mart in Dallas, Texas, this is Eddie Barker.
That was the CBS pickup here in Dallas. Eddie Barker, the news director of KRLD, bringing you up to date. The reason that the mobile unit was set up at the Trade Mart that at 1 o'clock today, President Kennedy was scheduled to make a speech. Now, on my right and on your left is a crude, and you'll excuse the artwork, with apologies to you, Sam, of where in Dallas the shooting took place today. Dallas is off to your left. This is Main Street. This is the county courthouse and the jailhouse in this block here. This is the triple underpass that we have referred to. This is where President Kennedy, Johnson, and as I understand it now, a Secret Service man was shot at about, Conley was shot at approximately 12:35 today. And from our eyewitness that you saw earlier, was shot from up in here. This is an overpass going over these streets. We call it our triple underpass because there's another one, was shot from here. Conley arrived last night in Fort Worth to a warm reception. It was raining up until about, in Dallas and in Fort Worth, up until about, I guess 9:30 or 10 o'clock this morning. And everybody was saying, well, the president brought the rain with him, because those of you who have been in this area recently know how bad we have needed the rain. He made a speech this morning at 9 o'clock that was carried on television about, I beg your pardon? Let's go back to the network now and see what they have.
The operating room, that the vice president is fine. She was taken back into another first-floor room where Johnson originally had gone, asked if her husband also had been wounded. She shook her head negatively. She said he had not been. Secret Service men pushed reporters away and permitted no more questions. Of course, you can imagine the confusion, the emergency circumstances, the confusion that must exist around that hospital. Now we understand that we are ready to switch to Washington for a report from there. We are ready to go to Washington. Come in, Washington. We are ready to switch to Washington for a direct report from there, but for some reason, under the circumstances, we seem to be having a little difficulty with that, which I'm sure will be cleared up in a moment. Come in, Washington. We were told from our control room here in New York that Washington was standing by with a report, but we've been unable to reach them at this moment. I'm sure that in a matter of seconds, perhaps in another minute or two, we will be able to reach Washington. Did you have something else, Ed Silverman?
I just thought we might recap for those who probably heard about it just a few moments ago.
I think that's a good idea.
What did happen, that the president and Governor Connolly were shot on their motorcade as it entered an underpass while going through downtown Dallas. And when the shots were first fired, there were thought to be 3. That later was confirmed there were 4 shots. The president fell over face down. Governor Connolly apparently was wounded in the body. He fell forward. Mrs. Kennedy leaped up and cried, "Oh no," and tried to hold the president's head up. Blood was seen on the president's head. And a Secret Service agent apparently was shot by one of the assassin's bullets as well. And of course, you have him from there on.
Thanks very much, Ed. In case you did join us late or had not heard the news, those are the facts so far as we know them up to this time. And I'm receiving word now. We have received word that 2 priests who were with the president have reported that the president is dead. Now here again, we must emphasize that this is not an official announcement. It has not been announced by the White House or anyone in the official party traveling with the president. But the Associated Press quotes 2 priests who were with the president, stating that he died from the bullet wounds or wound inflicted upon him by a sniper. We have to assume that it was a sniper who fired from a considerable distance. The president was given the last rites of the Roman Catholic Church at about 1 o'clock Dallas time. And at that time, the first reports were that the president was still alive. However, this latest word says that the priests were under the impression the president was dead at the time the last rites were administered. Now, we, of course, are going to keep the air here, and we will bring you whatever reports come in as they come in from the wire services, from our reporters on the scene, and from Washington and Dallas directly. We will be going to Washington before long for a direct report from there. Ed Silverman is sitting here beside me. He has a telephone to Dallas and is in touch with our reporter Bill Lord, who is at the hospital and has been in touch with people at the scene. Ed, is there anything new there?
No, there is nothing new, Ron. Bill left the phone to check with the sheriff's office. He did confirm the death of the Secret Service agent, the fact that at least a dozen eyewitnesses have been brought in for interrogation, and the fact that 1 suspect has been picked up. He is in there being questioned now. There have been no details. Everyone is being very close-mouthed in the sheriff's office. And, of course, there's a great deal of rumor. Bill mentioned a great deal of rumor, as is understandable at a time like this. So we would hesitate to pass any of that along. We'd stick strictly with the facts as we get them.
We have a report that Senator Edward Kennedy, the president's brother, was presiding over the Senate today when word came that the president had been shot. An aide informed him, and he rushed out of the Senate chamber Attorney General Robert Kennedy, the president's younger brother and closest advisor, was having lunch at home when the word came of the shooting. The president's personal secretary said the attorney general was remaining at the Kennedy Hickory Hill estate in McLean, Virginia, awaiting further word. Newsmen carried the word to House Speaker John McCormick at a luncheon table in Washington. He said, "This is terrible. All I can say is that it is a terrible thing, and all Americans of all religions and faiths are praying for the president and Governor Connally." Now,
I'm just thinking that of all the people who...
Now, we're receiving a report here. The United Press reports... The United Press reports that the president died at 1:35. That would be 1:35 Eastern Time, I presume. That would have been about 1:35 Central Time. That was only about 2 minutes ago. Now, that, again, is a United Press International report. It is not attributed. We do not know whether that is an official announcement by anyone in the Kennedy party. We have another photograph of Mr. Kennedy in the motorcade, which was taken minutes before the assassination attempt. This is a still photograph of the president in the motorcade. You see he's riding in an open car, and we're informed at the time that the shots struck him, he was standing in that car. Unfortunately, apparently making a good target for the sniper, who was hiding somewhere and may have fired from a considerable distance, probably with a high-powered rifle, considering the accuracy with which he shot. And also the fact that one of the Secret Service agents was killed. The Secret Service agents normally walk directly beside the car on either side. We do not see any in this photograph, but usually 2 or 3 Secret Service agents will walk on either side of the car so that they are there to spot anyone who looks like a troublemaker. Government sources now confirm, we have this from Washington, government sources now confirm that President Kennedy is dead. So that apparently is the final word, and an incredible event that I am sure no one except the assassin himself could have possibly imagined would occur.
The gentleman sitting on your right, my left, is Bert Shipp. We'll have some film to run in just a few moments, but right now what we're going to run is a videotape recording of the program we had on the air here at about 1:45 today, immediately about 10 minutes after President, 12:45, I'm sorry, Central Standard Time, 12:45. We'll roll that tape. Bert is assistant news director and chief cameraman and so forth. Bert, a black day.
Indeed it is, Jay, but from the last report from police, they are converging on an area in the 300 block or somewhere near the 300.
Let's not give it. Maybe too many people.
Oh, well, they're already out there. But anyhow, in Oak Cliff, and they believe that they might have the assassin out there. They're looking for a white male, 35, about 5'8" in height. He got a white shirt, and that's about all I know right now. But they are putting an unusually great number of policemen out in that area. And so that's why we take some strength into this just routine call. And also, there's been a report that a policeman's been shot out there. Whether he's shot and killed, I don't know.
Well, is it confirmed now that the Secret Service man and, well, let's see, we don't know the condition of Connally now, do we?
No, we don't. He was in...
He is all right? Good.
And, of course, he was shot in the chest. And the first details from the Parkland Hospital, very sketchy. Mm-hmm. We talked to Congressman Wright. We talked to Senator Ralph Yarborough. And they were, so as you'll see on the film in a moment, are very visibly shaken.
No, Bobby, let's hold the film, please. Of course, the film that Bert is talking about is unedited, and it was rushed through, and we'll have more film throughout the day. As the boys bring it in, we are not making any attempt to edit it down as you would see on our regularly scheduled newscast, because it's impossible, and you understand that, I am sure. The time now is 20 minutes until 2 o'clock Central Standard Time. The president died 5 minutes ago. He arrived in Fort Worth last night. This morning at 9 o'clock in Fort Worth, he made his speech. At 11:35, he arrived in Dallas. And at 12:35, is that right? At 12:35, he was shot, and an hour later was pronounced dead. He died in a hospital after being cut down, as you know now. The call went out about 30 minutes after we arrived back in the station, which would make it about 5 minutes after 1. Call went out for the top specialist in the Dallas area, also for 2 priests who were there. The eyewitness report that we're going to play back here in just a moment that we aired earlier this afternoon, the eyewitness said that they could see the bullet hit Mr. Kennedy and also see Governor Connally double over. Bert was telling me out at the Trade Mart, you knew something was wrong the minute the car came by at 70 or 80 miles an hour.
It was going full speed, and we thought that they were just going to slow down, but they didn't. They went right on past it, and for about had to go about a mile from the Trade Mart to the Parkland Hospital, and they were going in top speed, and we hadn't even a chance to get any pictures. We were a good distance away, but we hopped in a police car and went on out to Parkland, where we got these.
Bert, why don't you scoot up for just a minute and let Pierce Allman come in. Pierce is a program director of WFAA Radio. Pierce, how are you?
I'm a little bit shook right now, Jay. I didn't know until I got back and went into the newsroom just now that the president had died. Because where I was locked in the Texas School Book Depository building. I headed for there right after the shots. And they weren't letting anyone...
Pierce, excuse me here. We have our tape ready to roll.
You're on the air. You're on network speed.
We are feeding now. Very good. In case you have tuned in late, government sources in Washington say that President Kennedy is dead. He was shot at approximately 12:35 this afternoon in Dallas, Texas. The gentleman on my left and on your right is Bert Shipp, who is in charge of the photographers in our newsroom. And Bert, you have some film. Just a minute. Bobby, is the film ready to roll yet? Hello. No, they're queuing up the film now that Bert took at Parkland Hospital, as I understand it.
Jay, it's going to start out of some brief scenes at the Market Hall, or at Trade Mart, where the president was due to arrive. It's about probably a mile from the scene of the downtown shooting. And, of course, we had no word at Market Hall as to what went on downtown.
Roll the film.
And it was a complete mystery. The police didn't even know. But we knew, as you'll see about halfway through the film, the police went on past the Market Hall area, or Trade Mart rather, and on it to Parkland Hospital.
Bob, whenever you're ready, go ahead and roll. Let's see what we got. Excuse me. No.
Oh, this is a shot. There we go. Here's Market. There's Market Hall. Trade Mart is right across the street from there. They had a big welcome sign for the president there at the corner of Industrial and Stemmons. It says, "Welcome, Jackie." And
now, this was the place where the president was supposed to make his speech.
Here's some a gentleman carrying signs. I guess you'd call them gentlemen. They had these signs. They weren't causing any trouble. They were run off moments after this, told that there was private property and they couldn't be around there. And they wouldn't talk to us other than they said their signs spoke for themselves. There's some of the crowd, 450 extra policemen called on duty. Everybody waited anxiously and waited and waited and waited. There's the policeman ushering a fellow by the name of Joyner from Grand Prairie back across the street. The boys had their mouths taped up so they wouldn't be able to answer any questions. Now there goes the president on up the hill there. He's been, this is after we found out there was something wrong. And
speeding past.
Yeah, and here's the disappointed crowd left there at the Trade Mart. I went up on the roadway there to ask some policemen. Here we go to the hospital. There's homicide detectives in front of us. There's Parkland Hospital. There's the entrance. Police cars all over the place. There is Congressman Wright. He's teary-eyed, as you could imagine. And there's the presidential limousine, the Secret Service men shaking it over. There's
Wright again.
Wright in Yarborough. There's the Secret Service man is taking its type of a mattress or something out of the back of the car there. There's Chief Curry. He just couldn't believe it. He had put everything he had into this visit and gave the men all types of instruction. There's inside of a car. I don't know, well, that must have been Conley's car. There's some more shots of everybody waiting expectantly. At this time, no one knew anything. Then there goes Ms. Lincoln, the president's press secretary, inside. And there's Yarborough again, Senator Yarborough, and he says the sight was too gruesome to describe. And there's a final parting shot from Parkland.
The film and the quality of the film, of course, you can understand, and also the fact that it was not edited. This gentleman is Bob Walker, news director of WFAA Television. Bob, do you have some last-minute items there?
Just this, that Vice President is on his way to Washington, where he will be sworn in. The President's children are on the second floor of the White House and have not been told as yet that their father was killed. And the White House news staff is under a state of complete, White House staff, I should say, is under a state of complete collapse. First reports said that President Kennedy was shot from an overpass. Our WFAA TV reporter, Mal Couch, saw the gun emerge from the upper story of the warehouse, which has turned out to be the second floor of the Texas Book Depository, which is a familiar sign.
Let me interrupt you here. This is Jay Watson and Bob Walker at WFAA TV in Dallas. Let's switch now to ABC in New York.
This is Ron Cochran at the ABC News headquarters in New York. Just to recapitulate what most of you, I'm sure, already know by now, President Kennedy is dead. The 35th President of the United States, born May 29, 1917 in Boston, the first Catholic president ever elected. He was also the youngest man ever elected president. He was the first American chief executive to face the possibility of nuclear warfare. He risked it with a show of force to protect American interests. Later, he succeeded in achieving an accord with Russia limiting nuclear tests, and that occurred only recently. Now we go to Washington for a direct report from Ed Morgan.
This is Edward P. Morgan in Washington. I have just come from the White House. The president is dead. The word came to the White House from a doctor in Dallas. The scene in the White House is a mixture of stunned disbelief, anger, and heartbreak. I saw McGeorge Bundy, the president's chief advisor on international security affairs. His eyes were red-rimmed. He was silent. He shook my hands in silence. By coincidence, I happened to have lunch with Ralph Dungan, one of the president's other top advisors. We drove back to the White House together. On our way back, we saw clots of students at George Washington University standing in the street listening to the horrible news on the radio. When I got to the White House, secretaries were sobbing audibly in the corridors. Charles Horsky, the president's advisor for District of Columbia Affairs, was walking back and forth in the corridor with his hands beating his forehead. Hubert Humphrey happened to be at the lunch that Dungan and I attended at the Chilean embassy, where we both got the news. The senator's first reaction was one of high indignation, and his audible reaction was unprintable. He immediately went to the Senate, where the news had already been given. There is no official spokesman, ironically enough, at the White House at this moment. Pierre Salinger, the president's press secretary, is not in Texas, but at last reports was on the way in the air from Honolulu to Tokyo with Secretary of State Dean Rusk. At this moment, it seems hardly the time, and yet the inexorability of events make it necessary to report what the order of events is now. Vice President Lyndon Johnson will be the next president of the United States. According to the processes of law, he must be sworn in as soon as possible. Calvin Coolidge was sworn in New England at midnight, as I recall, after Warren Harding had died in San Francisco of blood poisoning. Harry Truman was sworn in, you may remember, in Washington in April 1945 after Franklin D. Roosevelt had died of a stroke in Warm Springs, Georgia. This news at this point has so stunned the Capitol that there is no rational progression of events. Nobody is thinking about much of anything except the indescribable, incredible fact that the man who came out of Fort Worth with his customary PT boat vigor at 7 o'clock this morning, made 2 speeches in Fort Worth, and then went on to Dallas, is now a man in his 46th year, the youngest president of the United States ever to be elected as such, the first Roman Catholic ever to be elected as such, is dead. This is Edward P. Morgan in Washington.
This is Ron Cochran in the ABC News headquarters in New York. Senators, we're told, crowded around 2 news tickers waiting for word of the shooting. Many of the senators remained slumped in their seats on the floor until Senate Democratic leaders called the Senate back into session. Senator Richard Russell of Georgia said the whole nation is shocked by this dastardly crime. And after a 15-minute recess, the Senate returned and had the Reverend Frederick Brown Harris, Senate chaplain, say a prayer. The Senate adjourned after the chaplain's prayer that President Kennedy's life might be spared. That, of course, was before word came that he had already died. Vice President Johnson's office says it has no information to confirm rumors that Johnson has been wounded in the shooting. That, however, was an earlier word, and evidently the Vice President was not injured, according to all the information we have. We were told from Dallas a few minutes ago that the Vice President is already on his way back to Washington. Possibly he is attempting to get back to the airport. I doubt that he has had time to leave Dallas. In any event, according to the best information we have, Vice President Johnson will not take the oath of office as president until he returns to Washington. On the 7th floor of the Hotel Commodore here in New York, where the Democratic State Committee has headquarters, about a dozen women, including members of the staff, broke into tears. All normal activity ceased in the hotel, and in nearby office buildings, they were crowded around radio and television sets, as I'm sure millions of persons are all over the country by this time. And incidentally, you may have seen, of course, a good deal of confusion in our reports. Quite naturally, all of us in the television and radio industry were taken quite by surprise by this event. Obviously, no one could possibly in his wildest dream have imagined that such a thing would happen. The word came, of course, that the shooting had taken place during the normal lunchtime here in New York, and all of us at all the networks rushed back from wherever we were at the time and got on the air as quickly as possible. And we are still operating under more or less emergency and impromptu conditions, but we are staying on the air to bring you the news, every bit of information as it comes to us from the wire services and from our own reporters in Dallas and in Washington. We have just received word that Assistant Presidential Press Secretary Malcolm Kilduff confirms that Johnson, that is Vice President Johnson, was not hit by the rifle fire. The new president previously had been reported wounded. So I think that there is no doubt now that Lyndon Johnson is all right. He was not injured in the shooting. Mayor Wagner here in New York was at a luncheon club. When he received the news, he reported he was watching the news of the shooting on television, described the event as a terrible thing. We'll be receiving various comments by dignitaries and others all over the country. The only thing, of course, that all of us can say at this time is that this was a shocking, shocking thing, something which no one could have imagined would happen, and yet it has.
Jay Watson and Bob Walker at WFAA TV in Dallas, the ABC News Information Center for this area. The eyes of the nation and the hearts of the nation are with Mrs. Kennedy today, and the eyes of Dallas, Texas are held in shame. We have a film available that was, excuse me, Bob, go ahead.
May report this bulletin that a Secret Service agent and a Dallas policeman were shot and killed here today. They were shot some distance from the area where President Kennedy was assassinated. No other information immediately available from there, except one more point here that this Secret Service Lieutenant Eric Kaminsky has said the assassin's weapon appears to have been a high-powered Army or Japanese rifle of .25 caliber. The entire building where the sniper was located was evacuated. If we could get a picture of our map here and show somewhere of the building, it's a Texas school book depository, which means exactly what it says.
This is the car where the president was. This is what we call our triple underpass in Dallas. This is the grassy area where, and it was originally thought that the shots came from in here, and now it's believed that the shots came from this building here. We have a film now, and by the way, we have one of the men, someone, and I should say someone, has been arrested in one of the downtown theaters. They don't know if it was the man who shot the policeman or the person who actually shot President Kennedy and Governor Connally. It's in our process. It's being processed now. We'll have that just as soon as possible. Right now, we have an interview with an investigating officer, so let's roll that film, please.
Oh, now. And you saw a man up there? That's where the guy was.
Here, open my mic. This is of course you realize that the film is unedited, and this is one of the parts of the film without the sound on it. This film was made in one of the investigators' offices here in Dallas, and we will have the interview in just a few moments. I'd like to repeat that we will have some videotape later in the day of the president's arrival at Love Field in Dallas at approximately 11:35 this morning, and 1 hour later the president was shot.
This is film in Sheriff Bill Decker's office.
Sheriff of Dallas County. The city of Dallas, well, I know... Here,
sound.
Yeah, can I have your name? J.H. Sawyer. And your position? Inspector, please. What is the story here now? This is apparently the building that the assassin shot from.
This is a building that the witnesses said they had seen a man up there, and some with a rifle. And also we found some empty rifle shells on the 5th floor.
So he would have been directly above us?
Directly above us. Indications were that he had been there for some time.
Well, has the police department taken any precautions against such an incident?
We thought we had taken all of the precautions that were necessary. But this particular building was not covered, as were a lot of other buildings.
So as it stands now, there is a suspect. There were witnesses.
There are witnesses who saw the man.
What did they see as far as the president and the governor?
Well, several of the witnesses saw him slump over.
The president?
Yes.
And the governor?
And the governor, yes.
You also understand the Secret Service man was in?
This I do not know. I haven't received that information.
How many policemen are there in the city of Dallas?
We have approximately 1,300.
I would assume they're all out right now.
Go ahead.
Yes, bulletin here. Police have arrested a white man in the Riverside section of Fort Worth in connection with the shooting of a Dallas policeman. The man has denied any connection with the assassination of President Kennedy.
Of course, there will be a lot of stories coming in like that. Everybody that's picked up here will be in some way or another connected. We do not know at this moment in Dallas, from the latest word we've gotten from our reporters, from the police chief, and from the sheriff's department, if any of the people arrested so far are actually the person who pulled the trigger. It seems like that the building that the shot was fired from is a building used by the state of Texas to store school books. It's an old building, a building that would be hard to cover. It stands over the viaduct as I guess there are 15 or 20 different places throughout the building that someone could be hiding to take a shot. I don't know of anything. I'd like to speak here for the city of Dallas. We are ashamed at the moment. We are stunned. The whole world is stunned, but at this moment I don't think anybody could be more stunned than the people who live in our city. A gentleman just walked in our studio that I am meeting for the first time as well as you. This is WFAA TV in Dallas, Texas. May I have your name, please, sir?
My name is Abraham Zapruder.
Mr. Zapruder?
Zapruder, yes, sir.
Zapruder. And would you tell us your story, please, sir?
I got out and, about a half hour earlier and get into a good spot to shoot some pictures. And I found a spot, one of these concrete blocks that I have down near that park near the underpass. And I got on top there. There was another girl from my office. She was right behind me. And as I was shooting, as the president was coming down from Houston Street making his turn, it was about halfway down there, I heard a shot. And he slumped to the side like this. Then I heard another shot or two. I couldn't say what it was, one or two. And I saw his head practically open up, all blood and everything. And I kept on shooting. That's about all. I'm just sick again.
I think that pretty well expresses the entire feelings of the whole world. You have the film in your camera. We'll try
Yes, I brought it on the studio now.
We'll try to get that processed and have it as soon as possible. Right now, we have videotape. A picture of the building of where the bullet came from. Let's take the picture first, then the videotape. This is videotape now. This is a picture of the hearse leaving Parkland Hospital with President Kennedy's body. As I understand it, the body is being taken to one of the funeral homes here in Dallas. All right, Bob, that pretty well covers it, I think. This is the same hospital that President Kennedy visited in his visit here in 1961. It is not? Excuse me. This is the outside shot of the hospital and the people who are gathered there, all stunned in the realization that President Kennedy was assassinated in Dallas, Texas today. Now we have a picture of the building. There is a picture of the building that one of the boys took, showing possibly one of the windows that was used. The top right hand. Okay, which one was it? Let's see if we can figure it out. There it is. There is a picture of the window where the gun was allegedly fired from that killed President Kennedy today. Excuse me, go ahead, sir.
I must have been the line of fire where I see now the picture where I was. I was right on that concrete block, as I said. And as I explained before, as a sickening scene. At first I thought perhaps it sounded like somebody make a joke. You hear a shot and somebody grabs their stomach.
I was about 100 yards away from one of the boy and I walked over to see President Kennedy. We were about 100 yards away, and it sounded like there were 3 shots. And after the first couple, I said, my God, they've shot the president. And then we walked over and looked down and could see the people on the grass there, and I imagine you were one of the people that we saw there underneath the viaduct. This happened this afternoon about, what time, 12:35. The president died
Something like it.
The president died at 1 o'clock. They sounded like, at first they sounded like firecrackers, and somebody next to us said they're shooting off fireworks, but then we realized, it didn't take but a minute to realize that they were loud reports, and for those of you who are familiar with hearing a rifle shot, it was a recognizable sound. The videotape that we have, Bobby, what do you have now? Okay, that completes the videotape coverage for the moment. We will have film back in about 15 minutes of the arrest of a person who could be the person who shot the policeman or the Secret Service man or Conley or President Kennedy, and we'll have that in just a moment. Now let's go back to ABC in New York. Jay Watson and Bob Walker at WFAA TV in Dallas. We have some late film. Also, we understand that Vice President Lyndon Johnson will be sworn in Dallas. Our video cruiser is on the way. We'll try to have that tape for you later, or at least we will have film coverage of that as soon as possible. Let's roll the film now, Bob, and see what it has.
All right, this is some of the motorcade as it ended its drive just minutes before it rounded the turn at which the president was shot and killed. Some of the people on the streets.
And just about a minute, I'd say 45 seconds before the president was shot, I was standing right in here and gave the president the applaud. He turned the corner.
There's the president and Mrs. Kennedy just minutes before he was shot.
Mr. Haggerty explained, too, that that dome was not on, as you can see there. There
now we're getting down.
Right here is where it took place. Just as you saw...
Now, here is the spot where the president was killed. This is the building which the shot was fired. In a minute, you'll see a policeman or someone crawling in the... Where's the window where the shot was fired from? Now you see policemen with guns, suspecting perhaps the man was still in the building.
Come back to the man.
Bits of chicken, food particles were found in the building, indicating he had been there for some time. The weapon has been found. I do not have the exact make of it. They found it on the 6th floor of this building. I've just learned that. A German Mauser, I believe, is what it was.
That's out in front of the Depository, Texas School.
Right, this is just minutes after the president was shot.
If you remember the picture there where the president turned left and the long shot, it was there that it happened.
Dallas County Sheriff Bill Decker. Policemen with the guns, trained, have no idea at all who these people may be. Evidently, they're clearing the area, is all I can say. President John F. Kennedy has now been dead an hour and 49 minutes.
This is a scene where President Kennedy was shot this afternoon, Dallas, Texas, picking up one of the men
Just
there.
suspects by the droves, of course, have been pulled off the streets.
Now, the picture you see now is tracing the route of President Kennedy up 11th Avenue on Turtle Creek. Now we're coming into the main part of Dallas. There's City Hall. He turns left, right on Houston Street, and right there is where the president was shot. The films that you have just
seen. The trade
seen.
mart up the top of the picture is where he was set to give an address at 1 o'clock, incidentally, the minute he expired.
Okay, Bob, I see that Ron Ryland is. Let him scoot in here and tell what he knows. I think he had the film, shot the film of the man that was arrested. Sit down. This is Ron Ryland. You can imagine the confusion that's going on in the city of Dallas today, not only in our newsroom, but in all the newsrooms. Ron, tell us what you know.
Well, I've just come back from Oak Cliff at the Texas Theater on West Jefferson Street.
Let me explain that Oak Cliff is a part of Dallas.
Yes, sir, it is. We joined a police motorcade that was dashing to the Texas Theater where they had a report of a man coming in there that was armed. Just prior to that, a police officer had been shot in that area, had been shot with a .38 caliber automatic. We went to the scene. About, I would say, 200 or more police officers went into the theater and found a man sitting in the second row from the back that was armed with a shotgun. The
crowd, of course, I imagine, connected this with the slaying of the president.
Yes, sir. Any man I think it is armed in Dallas today is a suspect at the moment. The officers converged on this man, grabbed him up, and hustled him out of the theater, all the while he was protesting against the police brutality that they were working him over in one thing and another. They dragged him out. The crowd proceeded to push the officers aside and try to get at the man, screaming murder and all, and they do believe that it was almost a lynch mob.
Ron, did you just shoot the film that we just looked at?
I just got in, Mr. Watson. I haven't seen the film.
All right, why don't you bring him in? We'll run the film again and let A.J. talk about it. Excuse me, go ahead.
All
now.
right, sir.
Do you know exactly what kind of gun that they found over at the book?
Yes, sir. They have just found the weapon that they believe is the assassination weapon. It is an Argentine 6.5 Mauser that had a 4-power scope on it. Also, in this same area, they found a bag of chicken. They found several bottles of soft drink. And in other words, the man had been planted there for some time.
He could have been there for quite some time.
Yes, sir. I assume that he'd been there for possibly overnight because he did have several things there to eat.
Do you have, excuse me, I've just received word that Lyndon Johnson has been sworn in as President of the United States. More background material on that in just a few moments from New York. I'll repeat, Lyndon Johnson is now President of the United States. He was sworn in just a few minutes ago at Love Field. Our boys are coming back to the studio here at WFAA TV with that film, and we'll have it in just a few moments. Let's look at the film again, Ron, and you narrate it this time because you were there. This is the film we showed just a few minutes ago. Go ahead.
Well, this is just prior to the parade. Everyone was sitting around having a good time. I do believe it was a very fervent welcome for President Kennedy. Everybody seemed to be enjoying it.
And the President made a statement earlier how pleased that he was with the turnout in his reception in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Yeah, I think that everybody was just real happy. As the motorcade came down the street, the crowd oft times broke loose and dashed out, shook hands with him.
This is Main Street.
Everybody just seemed to be enjoying it and having a good summertime outing.
Right. Now, in just a few moments, you'll see almost the exact spot where the president was shot. Right in this area on down the road.
Yes, sir. This is a bookstore, a Texas bookstore, right where these officers are, is where the man was supposed to have been on the 6th floor. This is where they found the rifle.
Right.
It was on the 6th floor behind a bunch of boxes stacked in behind them. The crowd gathered quickly. The officers descended on the area and tried to keep people back, but of course everybody swarmed in, and I guess the roof just sort of fell in on Dallas at this moment.
It has.
We went in with the Secret Service officers. We covered every inch of the building from the roof to the basement, and finally they did discover this gun on the 6th floor. There was no sign of the man. About 6 or 7 witnesses said that they had seen this man, but of course at a time like this everybody sees everybody, and it's hard to tell which is true and which is not. The Secret Service agents, the FBI officers, all guarded the doors, would not allow anyone in the building or out. Therefore, I do believe that you'll find that these are exclusive films.
I think
as far as the building itself, this is Sheriff Bill Decker, Dallas County Sheriff. These are officers, and as you notice, they're all armed with riot guns, shotguns, machine guns, everything possible in an attempt to apprehend this man. I do believe that he'll never be taken alive.
You do believe that?
Well, I don't think they'll allow him. I'm afraid this man at this point is so disrupted he may just do away with himself, if anything else.
That's the conversation we've had here.
The crowd swarmed in and did not necessarily hamper operations or anything like that, but
more suspects here, I guess, huh?
They were all taken over to Bill Decker's office where they were interrogated. Anyone who had said that they had seen anything at all, whether it was actually with the shooting or leading up to it, people hanging out of windows, the sheriff took him over and started to interrogate them.
One of our newsmen, Mal Crutch, said that he saw the rifle come out the window. That's it from Dallas, Texas for the moment. We will have more film, and we will have film of Vice President Lyndon Johnson being sworn in later in the day. Now let's go back to New York. This is Dallas, Texas. The gentleman here again is Ron Ryland, one of our cameramen that we have some exclusive film to show you once again. Let's roll the film and we'll narrate it as we go. Ron, these are the police cars pulling into the area.
Right. Once the report went out that this man was holed up in Oak Cliff, we all went out in the motorcade. This is the first building that he was reported in. It's an old junk shop of one kind or another. This is the jacket that the man was wearing. He discarded it as he ran down the street. An eyewitness here said that he had seen the man go into the building, and this is the rear of it. The officers converged on it once again.
Let's make a point here now. This is the film. It is a suspect.
This is a suspect, yes. They saw this man running in and out that answered the description of the original man. No, this is an eyewitness, Jay. The man that is being interrogated here said he saw the man run down the street. Of course, everywhere we went, the crowds converged and hampered operations quite a bit. This is the scene where the police officer was shot. The car that you see in the background there belonged to the police officer, and this woman said that she had seen a man, answering the description of the man that was later captured, run up, stop the officer, and then shoot him. About that time, another report came in that there was a man had walked into the Texas Theater further down the block with a shotgun over his arm. Of course, everybody broke and ran down into the area at the time. This gun that you see in the background here in this officer's hand is the one that allegedly was used to shoot the police officer. This is the officer's billfold that was found lying on the ground right alongside of the car. The crime investigators here are fingerprinting the car in hopes that they could possibly lift a print to use. Now we're inside of the Texas Theater. Of course, everything is black. The movie is going on. Police suddenly jumped this man and started to drag him out of the theater, hustled him out to the car as the crowd broke and started to maul the police officers and grab this man, trying to run with him. They shouted murder and just almost anything to try and get at this man. As you see here, the officers hustled him into the car and ran away just as fast as they could from this Texas Theater in hopes of protecting this man, and they have taken him off to an unknown spot. We don't know where they're holding him for the interrogation. Once again, these are exclusive films. We were the only photographers at the scene, Mr. Watson.
The name of the officer slain was J.D. Tipton. This information, Police Captain Pat Ganaway today said a suspect held in the assassination, the picture you just saw here, was an employee of the building where a rifle was found. Ganaway also said the suspect had visited Russia and was married to a Russian. This is not immediately confirmed. The suspect's citizenship is not known. Ganaway said the suspect was the same man who shot and killed a city policeman in the Oak Cliff section of the city. And if so, those are the pictures we just saw, correct?
We sure hope so.
All right. The city of Dallas is in shock. We will have pictures and comments from our citizens in just a few moments.
If I may interject a point here, we do have pictures upcoming of the gun that actually shot the president and things like that. They'll be along shortly.
Okay, we'll have that in just a few moments here on ABC from WFAA TV in Dallas. I haven't been outside of the building since about 10 minutes after this tragic event happened in the city of Dallas. I have talked to the newsmen, and they say the entire city the entire nation is stunned and shocked.
People are walking around the street in whispers and things like that. They don't talk loud. There's no screaming or hollering as you normally find in a city. Everybody is just absolutely stunned, as you pointed out.
Well, it happened in our city.
Yes.
And this is a shock that I imagine will live forever in our hearts. I can only compare this to the time when Franklin D. Roosevelt passed away and the shock that came over everyone. This is the way the city of Dallas is today. People are walking the streets. No one is doing any work. Everyone is sitting and talking and wondering how in the world it could happen in the city of Dallas. How could it happen here? And probably a better question than that is, why did it happen in the city of Dallas? We will stay with the coverage, and I understand that ABC has canceled all their program. Of course, we have canceled our local programming. We will stay with this story throughout the day. We are in the process now of developing a complete resume and wrap-up from the time President Kennedy landed at Carswell Air Force Base last night until the present. We will have a complete resume and pictures of everything that has happened. That's it from here. Thank you, Ron. Now back to ABC in New York. Jay Watson along with Bert Shipp of WFAA TV in Dallas. We would like to be able at this time to bring you up to date on Governor Connolly's condition at the hospital, but it's off. We have not, as of now, been able to get any word from there. Our crew is standing by. We have our remote cruiser there, and as soon as anything happens, that will be on the air as soon as some word comes out exactly the condition of Governor Connolly. We have a piece of film we would like to show you now. Bert Shipp is our chief photographer and assistant news director of WFAA Television. This is, well, roll the film, Bert, and if you would narrate it, please, so they can move up there a little bit.
All right, Jay, this is that rifle that was shown minutes ago on the network. They dusted it for fingerprints from the, while it was still up in the building. And you'll see the detectives gathering and gathering their evidence. Tom Allier, one of our reporters and photographers, shot this film. He has just now managed to get out of the building because of the close security around it. You'll see stacks and stacks of books at this
get it up
this
there.
Big
get it up there.
many story building, and They actually found some chicken bones in there. We'll see a picture of that in a minute. Now the film starts getting a little bad. Looks like Tom lost his loop. But this is the inside of the building where the sniper was. There's the detectives. They get it all downstairs now, trying to regroup after being stunned by this. There's one of the lights. The policeman that had some hard times. They're combing the building thoroughly. Dusting everything. Like I say, this is the first time we've even seen the film. The fellow had a soft drink while he waited for the president to drive by.
No telling how long he was there, Hubbard.
No, there isn't. He had lunch there. They know that. Chicken bone, soft drink bottle. And that's about it, Jay. I'm sorry I don't know any more about it, but like I say, our man's on his way in. We had about 8 or 10 photographers out around the city, and these boys.
I understand we have some more coming up here.
Oh, yeah. Well, this is...
That's shot from inside the building.
Yeah.
This film was thrown out one of the windows. The building is closed up. No one can come in or leave the building, and this was tossed out the window and developed in the last 10 or 15 minutes here and on the air. Also standing by, coming in the front door now here, we'll be on the air in just a moment, are some interviews with the people in Dallas and their reaction to this tragic thing that happened just a few minutes ago, or just a very short time ago. The president seemed in a wonderful mood. His speech this morning, that was at 9 o'clock in Fort Worth, he was given the Texas hat, and you know which one that is, the wide hat, a pair of cowboy boots. Mrs. Kennedy was given a pair of cowboy boots. He stood out in front of the Texas Hotel in Fort Worth, talked to 7,000 or 8,000 people, and in his usual manner always went over and shook hands with the people. He arrived at Love Field at approximately 11:35 to 11:40 this morning. Was in a great mood, and once again moved over to the fence where he was not supposed to be. Moved into the procession.
Yeah.
Downtown, and at 12:35 fatally shot and died at 1 o'clock. There are a great many reactions in Dallas now. The main thing that we're concerned with is the condition of Governor Connolly. We will have that word for you just as soon as possible, as we understand that there is no word coming out of the hospital. There is no way that we can get any information for you.
Be about 15 minutes, Jay. Our cruiser is at the hospital entrance, and Conley's doctor will come out in about 15 minutes to make a statement, give a report, and a condition on the governor.
Very good. That's the latest word. That in 10 or 15 minutes we will have word for you. Right now, here is a picture of the man who allegedly shot the policeman.
We'll have a statement from the hospital in 15 minutes from the hospital. Things on the line.
This is the gentleman who allegedly shot the policeman, and a few moments ago on ABC, you saw the films of him being arrested, exclusive films here on ABC.
This is Ed Hogan of WFAA Television in Dallas, Texas. We are standing on the grounds of Parkland Hospital, where President Kennedy was brought just a few hours ago and has died, as most of you have already know. We want to possibly talk to some of the people here who are standing. What is your name, please?
Mrs. Quincy Adams.
Mrs. Quincy, are you from Dallas, Miss Adams?
Yes.
How does this affect you?
Well, it's just a complete shock, and I think it's just means a doom for our country.
Well, it's a terrible thing, and it's shaken up and shocked everybody.
Well, it has, and I think Dallas will never get over this.
Thank you very much. May I speak with you, please? I'm Ed Hogan of WFAA TV. If you turn around this, what is your name, please?
Mrs. Schofield.
Mrs. Schofield, how do you feel on this?
Pretty terrible about it. We're from Loveland, Colorado. We're just down here for today. Just got down.
Oh, you are?
I have a daughter bad sick.
Hospital here. It's all broke up over
a hit-and-run accident the other day.
Well, I'm awfully...
Hospital. That's what we're trying to get in now to see her.
Well, I'm awfully
I
sorry.
just feel terrible about this. I just think it's one of the most terrible things that's ever happened.
It certainly is that, and thank you so much for speaking with us. May I ask your name, please? I see you're wearing a banner, Lanny. Colts. Wonder if you have a football game tonight.
Yes, sir.
I would imagine. What school do you go to?
Carey.
To Carey School
Edward H.
here in
Carey.
Dallas?
Yes, sir.
How do you feel? What is your reaction to this terrible thing that has happened to our president?
Well, I just can't see why anybody would want to shoot Mr. Kennedy for all the things he's done for us and tried to keep us from getting into war and everything.
I see. And who is this with you here?
Don Myers.
What's your name?
Don Myers.
Don, how do you feel on this terrible day?
I just think it's just a shame because, I mean, I don't know why anybody would want to kill him.
Thank you very much for speaking with us. We might get over here. What is your name, please?
Gary Verts.
Gary Verts?
Uh-huh.
And Gary, you from Dallas?
Yes, I am.
How do you feel? What is your reaction to this terrible thing that has happened?
Well, it's a bad thing that's happened. I think it shouldn't have happened here, really, because it's going to give this place a real bad name now.
Thank you very much. I believe right now this is about all the people that we have here within the proximity of our length of cord on the microphone, but we will repeat that we're standing on the grounds of Parkland Memorial Hospital in Dallas, Texas, where just a few hours ago the President of the United States was brought. His body was brought here after an assassin's bullet, a sniper, took away his life at a very early age of 45 years.
The van that you see, we are assuming is the vehicle in which the President's body, this is undoubtedly the casket that is being brought forth. And from the vantage point that he has down there, ABC's Dick Bate will continue the commentary.
Now, accompanied by Secret Service men, it is on a truck, the body of which rises up in the air on a hydraulic lift. This truck has been lifted up to the side of the plane, the back door of the plane. The bronze casket has been pulled off the plane and is now on the bed of the truck. And the body of President Kennedy is back in Washington. On board this same plane, we're told, is President Johnson. Mrs. Kennedy is supposed to be on the plane as well. The body of the truck has now been lowered down to ground level on hydraulic lift. The bronze casket aboard it. A Navy ambulance is pulling up. The bronze casket carrying President Kennedy's body will be taken from here to Bethesda Naval Hospital. We're told that sometime tomorrow, President Kennedy's body will be taken to the White House for private ceremonies for the family. Then the plan calls for President Kennedy's body to be taken to the Capitol Rotunda, for public viewing sometime Sunday. Secret Service escort now lifting the bronze casket off the truck, bringing it down onto the field of Andrews Air Force Base. A Navy honor guard alongside. The casket is now being put into a gray Navy ambulance. Mrs. Kennedy is now coming down following the casket. With her, other members of the Kennedy family. The Attorney General can be seen. Jacqueline Kennedy, Attorney General Robert Kennedy have accompanied the casket back here to Washington, are now getting in the ambulance. Will go with the body to Bethesda Naval Hospital. This is the same giant aircraft that President Kennedy used on all of his trips around the world. And now with the sorrowing Mrs. Kennedy accompanying the body of her husband, the Navy ambulance pulls away from the airfield here and heads toward the Bethesda Naval Hospital. Hoping to catch a glimpse of President Johnson, who's supposed to be on this same plane. The word here from the Pentagon is that President Johnson will have a statement to make here at the airport. Officials at the Department of Defense were in touch with the aircraft by radio as it made its way back to Washington from Texas. And now the steps have been rolled up to the same back door of the jet airliner. President Johnson is expected to come down in just a moment. Coming down the steps now down on the ground. Mrs. Johnson with him. President Johnson coming over to the microphones, accompanied by military aides, Secret Service men. Security precautions here at the airport have been redoubled tonight. President Johnson has called a special meeting of congressional leaders. We're told there's a possibility of a cabinet meeting at the White House tonight. Many members of cabinet here at the airport. Members of the diplomatic colony in Washington. And a crowd of average citizens who turned out to pay their respects to President Kennedy's return to Washington. The ambulance carrying the casket has gone on into the city, and President Johnson is now before the microphones for his first public statement as President of the United States.
Mrs. Johnson is beside him, the First Lady now. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we take you to the microphones, and in the background of the noise here, they're still standing. The pictures are being taken. He is not ready to speak at the moment. We will watch and see just as soon as he is ready to speak. Another word is being given to him at the present time. And Lyndon Johnson is still standing there. They're looking at the plane, the people gathered around the officials. Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States.
It is a sad time for all people. We have suffered a loss that cannot be weighed. For me, it is a deep personal tragedy. I know that the world shares the sorrow that Mrs. Kennedy and her family bear. I will do my best. That is all I can do. I ask for your help and God.